Yeah, thank you, and welcome to Data Minutes, and welcome to 10 minutes and 10 favorites Azure Synapse features, but I would rather call it 10 important Azure Synapse topics because I can't really order them. I can't say which one is my favorite one, so I decided to bring 10, let's say, important topics about Azure Synapse. If you haven't heard about Synapse, well, what is it? It's an integrated enterprise application framework, and it's combining the world of data warehousing and big data analytics. And within the last few months, it combined the world of logging too. And it's a tool where you can work on your data, and it doesn't really matter which tool or technology you want to use. But if you start with a Synapse, the question is where to start, where to learn more about Synapse. So I would recommend heading over to docs.microsoft.com, and one might say, oh my God, documentation, but I would really say just head over there, have a look. It's really a deep dive description.
I don't hear you anymore, Wolfgang.
Which contains new updates, more detailed discussions of some features. So the Synapse blog, it recently moved to the tech community site, and I will post the slides and the link. And now the question is where to find all those updates, because as with every cloud service, Synapse gets new features too. And there is one part in the Synapse Studio, the development environment, well, the release notes. So there's the megaphone, which Synapse Studio just shouts at you what is new for you. And since last year, it's like those monthly updates, like the Power BI team, the Synapse team now publishes monthly updates. And those are posted on the Synapse blog over there. And now let's start with the data integration. Data integration for many of us, well, it's like a thing where we have to deal with code. Maybe not with the HTML code, JavaScript, whatever, but with SQL and so on and so forth. But there is an approach included in Synapse which is called the Synapse pipelines or the data flows, or let's say, and the data flows. And they allow us to develop in a low-code, no-code approach. The first picture shows a Synapse pipeline, and it's Azure Data Factory. Those pipelines, if you know them from Azure Data Factory, you know them in Synapse. And if you don't want to start from scratch, I would recommend the gallery, the template gallery. Head over there, have a look, and you find a starting point to really get into that. And let's imagine we've already filled our data lake, because Synapse contains and uses a data lake. So there's a central data lake storage. And imagine we filled that data lake with data coming from different sources, relational, structured, unstructured, and we want to do some data exploration. And there's a storage explorer included in there, and there's the context menu. You can just do a right click and you start the data exploration of your data lake using either SQL way or the Spark way. And it's really easy. Just do a right click on a directory in the data lake or a file, and you can head over to SQL code, generated SQL code. And as I spoke about SQL, well, Azure Synapse contains and combines the best of the two worlds of SQL. And there are SQL types, SQL pools they are called. And the big question is it just T-SQL? Is it a SQL server? And well, it depends. There are different flavors of SQL included in Synapse. First of all, there's the serverless pool, which is the part of SQL you can use for the data exploration, for building a logical layer on your data lake. And on the other side, there are those dedicated SQL pools. And those dedicated SQL pools, well, they are database clusters. There's data distribution, and data is distributed into 60 distributions in the background. And you have to decide which word of SQL and which way you want to go. And there's more. Well, it's Spark included. So not only the data warehousing part, it's the big data world in there. And there is Apache Spark included in the Synapse environment. So you've got Synapse Studio, and you can configure and create your own Spark clusters. You can size them appropriately. You can scale up and scale down. And what you can do, if you haven't done so far, you should have a look at notebooks. If you haven't heard about notebooks, well, read about notebooks. Notebooks are documentation, code, results in one place. And it's really, really easy to start with those. And within the Spark environment, you can decide which language you want to use. You can go the Python way, the Scala way, the C# way. So it's really, really easy. Number 7. Oh my God, we are approaching. So it's the data lake, the data lake house and the lake databases. If I think about a house near a lake, well, I would like to go there, but the data lakehouse is a little bit different. The data lakehouse, well, it's the evolution and the combination of the original data warehousing approach, the data lake in the middle, and the data lakehouse, well, it's your data warehouse built on a data lake. And within Synapse, we've got the concept of lake databases. And we've got, since I think December last year, a graphical designer to build a logical layer on files in your data lake, to build a data model based on files, storage folders in your data lake. And you can even, oh my God, it disappeared, map your data sources to new lake databases. And with that, the integration of those different pillars, SQL, Spark, and so on within Synapse, well, it's even getting better with metadata sharing. Metadata sharing allows you to use those Spark databases, those lake databases, and query them using SQL Serverless. You don't have to
Wolfgang, your audio just broke up.
Well, it's there on the SQL Serverless side. And another thing for some lazy data integration people, it's the Synapse link. And Synapse link is there for Cosmos DB, for Dataverse, and the upcoming SQL Server. And imagine a transactional system and some analytic requirements. And it's you that you don't want to build some ELT or ETL things, like you can use Synapse Link. And Synapse Link allows you to connect your Cosmos DB, your Dataverse, or SQL Server 2022 to your Synapse environment. And data is replicated from the source system almost in real time. And you can query data from your Dataverse table using Spark over here, and it's generating a lake database. And that lake database, metadata sharing, well, you can use it in SQL Serverless too. And the last round is integrations. It's not only the blue box of Synapse Studio, it's there for the integrations. And Synapse provides some integration with Azure Purview, the data governance service. And you can push lineage information from Synapse pipelines into Purview, and you get some sort of lineage diagram, some information, what actually happened in between. And the other way around, you can query your Purview data catalog within Synapse Studio. The Power BI integration, well, it's there to create your Power BI reports within Synapse Studio. You map a Power BI workspace into your Synapse workspace, and you don't have to switch tools. So it's integrated there. It's not that there were some audio hiccups. I hope that it was not that much. And with that, thanks for those 10 minutes about my 10 important Azure Synapse features.